here you are. I would sing a song if I loved a song. This is a thing full of things called applications. And the applications are things that once upon a time were called computer programs. This particular computer program is called wait, can I turn it around? It's called Frame-Lapse. It takes time-lapse images. So I'm going to time-lapse image my painting today on the close-up cam here. Because there's no reason anybody needs to watch me do a painting splotch by splotch. You are, but hopefully you're coming for the hilarious comedy and antics. Disco Jesus preserve us. Thank you again for our creativity and the burning heart of yourself that we can go to in our time of loneliness, which is now, which is COVID-19 2020. Team Cave Dweller, join me as I light the affectation candle and ask for Saint Expedite and Ishu Legua to come by and give us a hand today as we cross the barrier from intellect to imagination, from material to spirit. Well, Cave Dweller, I was just outside cutting things on a chainsaw. Cutting things with a chainsaw, and it was exhilarating. And I learned why people prefer not to use cordless electric chainsaws. You can only cut for 20 minutes, and then you got to put it down for the rest of the day. Yet, if I used a gas-powered chainsaw, I would have been out there still trying to start it for the first time. It's a pain in the neck, gas-powered power equipment. Don't you know what I'm saying, Disco Jesus? Yes, you do. That's why you didn't own any. This coffee is 48 hours old. 48 hours needs 48. 48 hours needs 48. 48 hours needs 48 thrills. 48 thrills. Okay, Cave Dweller. So, yesterday, 2 days ago, I painted the ascot on Skunkman. Let's bring out some details on him. And I realized after I was done, both with this painting that you're looking at and this painting, I'm spending so much time putzing around trying to get the walls right. I got to get the walls right. The walls don't look right. How can a wall not look right? I should just get some latex paint from Sherwin-Williams and a roller and done, right? But a painting of a wall is not a wall. I'm telling you, when you start messing around with non-reality and imaginative reality, everything becomes an issue. Everything becomes a difficulty. Everything becomes hard, man. It's so hard. Okay, I got some... There's a bug on my screen. It's one of those little red spiders that you see crawling on the sidewalk. If you're younger than me. If you're older than me, maybe you don't see them crawling on the sidewalk anymore. You know what I'm saying? Blindo. Oh, hey, guess what? We are here. We're there, now we're here. We'll say we're here. When it gets to here, we'll do a review of some anime. And when it gets to here, we'll wrap up the show so that we can be done by here. I don't want it to go over an hour because then I have to edit it in order to post it on certain social media that are not paying me to advertise. And they should be. Because I bring so many viewers to the table. Not even my mother comes to the table. But that's okay, Cave Dweller, because I don't need a mother, because I don't paint for my mother. I paint for awesomeness. So when awesomeness comes to the table, it lets me know because this kind of thing shows up. And look what's going on right here. The peg-leg monkey is too close in tone and hue to the background and the table, and these are too much the same. Even though the walls of my house are a kind of beige, and this is wood, that's supposed to be wood color. This is supposed to be light, like this, but I should probably make that yellow. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Change it back to yellow. I made it purple at the end of the day last time because light doesn't have a color. It just makes the hues more vibrant on the natural color of the thing already there. But, you know, you can't really tell that it's light, so let's just cheat. This is not how light looks. This is symbolic light. I guess that's one of my shticks. Comes from painting without observing. Alright. I got dip some water in there, and I should do this too. There's no reason those walls are brighter than that wall. They're farther away, they should be dimmer. Okay, brother, you are awesome. Keep painting and keep doing things fun. Actually, I don't like fun. I am against fun. Because fun is not fun. The thing that people do for fun, I don't find fun. You know what I like to do? And I don't do it much anymore because I just feel so guilty because when I do it, I'm not productive. I just like to walk down railroad tracks and pick up vertebrae. Because you can find lots of bones on the railroad tracks. It's a liminal zone. It's neither nature nor urban. Well, I guess that's what industrial is. And yet it's not industrial because most of the time there's nothing going on there. It's great. It's a great area. It's where you'd find Hermes. Not necessarily Ishu Legua, though, because Legua is not the god of travel, or the issue of travel. Who is the issue of travel? Uno? Ua? But his favorite thing is iron because of railroad tracks made out of iron. You can find him at railroad tracks, whereas you'd find a Legua at crossroads. They overlap. The Loa, the Ishu, they overlap. The gods, they all overlap. What am I in the middle of? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to add... this splotch is cool. It looks like a special effect, though, and I just want it to be floor effect. So once again, I'm going to have to go over everything with a wash of gray. When you're using acrylic paints, a wash is called a glaze. Got to be careful. I'm getting paint all over everything. How did I get paint on my... fingies? What was I touching? I don't know. I don't know. I spent 7 hours yesterday mowing a lawn because the lawnmower kept stalling. I would go one step and it would stall and I would lift it up. And I was walking 1 mile an hour, very slowly. It was like I was Buto walking. I was going so slow. I gotta tell you, this is one of my favorite paintings that I've ever done. I just wish I could get it right. What if... Okay, let's just try adding white. I wish I had ivory white. Okay, get in there. Now I need the magic sauce. Still waiting for my satin magic sauce to arrive. I ordered it. I don't know what's taking so long. COVID is over. Amazon taking over the world by engineering a disease that makes people stay home and buy things from them. And then in their grocery outlet, they say, oh no cash allowed. Credit only. And you know why? Because they are all for the cashless society. This is a conspiracy theory that I just made up. Cashless society can only help Amazon, while it hurts Barnes & Noble. Not that Barnes & Noble is a bookstore anymore. They sell games and toys. What is wrong with America, where our leading bookstore sells games and toys? There are many things wrong with America, but those are the same things that are wrong with all of humanity. I'm going to repaint his shoes in a second. And there's too much white in this. Or is there? Maybe it's transparent. I think there's too much white. We'll see. There's not enough violet, though, that's for sure. This is the theme music for the fast mow. As soon as the time lapse is finished, we'll just play some of that in there. There's nothing more annoying than music that doesn't go with the footage. When I watched Metropolis, it was on a DVD, like a 10 DVD collection of horror movies. copyright-free horror films. And this was on there, and the compilers just randomly chose some classical music to play. Didn't go with the scene, and it didn't last the entirety of the film. They just kept repeating it over and over. They replayed this piece of classical music. It was so annoying. Oh man, we had to turn the sound off. This is not what it looks like. Yeah, it's perfect. All the sugar, it's kombucha, and it's about to die. The SCOBY is about to die because I can taste that there's almost no sugar left in there. Okay, so does that look better? Cave Dweller? I can't tell. Let's fix his shoes. Maybe I'll give him brown shoes in honor of one of my favorite buddy TV shows, 10 Speed and Brown Shoe. It's my favorite just because I was into cop shows at the time. I was like 6. This show comes out, and I thought, 10 Speed and Brown Shoe. I just love that name, 10 Speed and Brown Shoe. It was so mysterious. So in honor of, and I never saw the show. Eva wouldn't let me. Eva being, of course, my mother. Wouldn't let me watch 10 Speed and Brown Shoe, and I don't know why. Many years later, Hardcastle and McCormick came out, and I tried to get into that show and enjoy it as much as I imagined I would have loved 10 Speed and Brown Shoe. Just because you got two guys known by their last names. So-and-so and so-and-so. But even Hardcastle and McCormick, it's two last names, but it's not as cool as two nicknames, right? No wonder it didn't live up to it. Live up to 10 Speed and Brown Shoe, that is. Alright, so we got these shoes, they're loafers. Got the brownness going. This shoe looks like a tie laying on its side. A recumbent tie. A recumbent necktie. Often you don't think of neckties as being recumbent, but oh, they are. Hey, guess what time it is? It's time for me to talk about current events. Let's see. Current events today are the events where things are opening up again and nobody's really cares about it. Oh yeah, that's right. Riots happened this week. There were riots. I already talked about them, but the riots turned into peaceful protests and people standing on their knees, and everybody was happy with that. Nothing is resolved. Nothing has changed in America. Nothing will probably change in our lifetimes in America that we will be able to notice. Here's one thing I noticed. I read an old blog post of mine, and in it, I was talking about the salt of the earth, gruff type of character with a heart of gold, like Ben Grimm and Hellboy. And I was proposing putting them together in a buddy comic. And I compared them to the most boring of superheroes, the starchy Superman. And then I made a segue to talking about the time Obama compared himself not only to Superman, but to Jesus Christ. And it was in a speech in Smallville. There's an actual Smallville in America. And the gist of my thing, I tagged the video, linked to the video in my blog post, and I said something like, no wonder he didn't win his third term. He's too boring. Bada bang. Hilarious on the inside. Nobody would laugh at a joke like that. But you would say, oh, it's a lighthearted piece. That video's gone. YouTube took it down. YouTube is balderizing history. Everything they don't like, they take down. And who is they? Who are they? That's what I want to know. Who are they? I want them to stop editing current events in the present moment. There's a really great video I linked to on Facebook about a guy saying climate change doesn't exist because banks are still giving 20-year loans. Which, I guess that stands to reason. But it doesn't mean climate change doesn't exist. It means bankers don't believe in climate change. That anybody who would watch the video with any sense of that thing where you don't make judgments, what's that called? Critical thinking would be able to see that. But Facebook put a big white spot on it, a glaze. They put a glaze over my video and words that said, fact check, blah, blah, blah. You could still go to the video, though, which is nice of them. But they had to put in the fact check business in there because they're pushing climate change. It's a political ideology more than it is science. Those are current events, and those are my beliefs. Everything is a conspiracy. Nicholas Taleb says the only thing stupider than conspiracies is not believe. The only thing stupider than believing in them is not believing in them. Hear, hear. And as long as I'm at it, let me just remind you that the American Revolution was a conspiracy. Okay. Now then. So, that looks good. That's starting to look good. Of course, it looks totally flat. I am not opposed to totally flat. The couch is looking good here. All I need to do, okay, I'll work on skunk face because I know what I need to do there. And that will be the first thing that I do. Rule of thumb, work on the easiest possible thing. He needs an eyeball. Where is a skunk eyeball? Put it right here. Now we've got to give his eyeballs a shine because he's black. He is so black that his eyeballs would disappear. Darn it, I'm getting stuff all over my paint. Now, I need white. And I'll take a dash of that purple. This one's violet. Dioxazine? Yeah, let's use dioxazine. I love Skunk Man. I wonder what his shtick is. I'm working on a story right now. I paused work on my comic book because I realized I'm watching a really great anime. I finished it last night. The biggest problem... well, I'll say it because I won't remember by the time the review comes. The biggest problem with Netflix anime-produced shows is that the seasons are too short. Wow, his eye is really far back there. Sailor Moon eyeball. 2 dots. And some lines. Okay. Well, inspired by this really awesome anime, I realized, I thought about how they developed it, how they... Okay, let's just do the review. This is the anime review, 5 minutes early. Dorohedoro is wonderful. It's awesome. It's so awesome. I bought the 3 volumes of the manga by Q Hayashida. And the reason I did that is because the characters are so engaging and the world is so fascinating and picturesque. Picturesque? I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know if I want to use it. Everything about it is riveting, and even the action. Unfortunately, the action that there's things they could prolong that they truncate. That's a little bit disappointing, and that might be just because of the translation from manga, where you control the pace, and then the weekly, the serialization, where you can't. Things have the appearance of taking longer than they do. You really see that a lot in Calvin and Hobbes, or even Bloom County, any serialized humor strip. Something that seems like it takes many days. When you read all 5 strips together, it's like takes 5 minutes and it loses everything. It loses all its depth, its sense of time. So that might be an issue, translating the sense of time from manga to where you don't need as much material to anime, where you're experiencing it in time. Dorohedoro, I thought the characters are so great, and there's twists and allies that are formed. Allies that people become allies, people become enemies, and even enemies have friendly alliances for brief amounts of time. I love that kind of thing where things go back and forth, and black and white is not black and white. Bad is not necessarily evil. It's just people want different things and they come together and they clash. And that's like real life, Daddy-O. That's what I want to see more of. It's so much more interesting. You don't have to hate Darth Vader. I mean, like, what if Darth Vader wasn't just a guy that killed a guy by pinching his fingers together? What if he just loved salad? You know? And he's like, no, I can't be with you meat eaters because I only eat salad. I don't know. So, you know, and then maybe he'd go to a banquet like he did with Han Solo. Instead of like putting Han Solo over the electrodes and then freezing him in carbonite, maybe he would just like say, hey, let's team up and make a really great salad. And then when we're done with that, you should run because I'm going to put you over the hot thing and then freeze you in carbonite. And the combination of hot and cold will make your flesh inedible. What am I getting at here? Dorohedoro. Wonderful. So I looked into it. Well, I bought the manga so that I could look into it, so that I could fix my story, which just meanders. It doesn't really go anywhere. In fact, I wrote a story about the peg-leg monkey. I tried to just end the peg-leg monkey and be done with it and move on and do something else. And I also was using it at the peg-leg monkey as sympathetic magic. I gave him everything I want, similar to what Grant Morrison did in The Invisibles. Look it up, Grant Morrison, The Invisibles. He appeared as a character in The Invisibles, and he gave himself everything he wanted. The character was a wealthy writer going on adventures. So I gave the peg-leg monkey a vault full of money and a high-profile job in a corporation with a corner office. And he just gave everything away. The peg-leg monkey gave everything away. He gave everything away so much that at the end of the story, he peels off his fig leaf, the only thing he wears, and his peg leg, the other thing he wears, and he hopped into a fireball. That's not what I was expecting. But like, I gave the story to my shrink saying, hey, what do you think? And he's like, I couldn't even follow it. It was like Bob Dylan on steroids, just image after image after image, and I just couldn't even make sense of it. And I thought, you're fired, 1. 2, I get that a lot when people read my writings. So the trouble is I have these strings of non sequiturs, whereas Dorohedoro has purposeful, even though very fantastic, things that follow one after the other. And I want to know what happens because I'm invested in the character. So I want to know why I've invested in the character. The anime opens with in media res with a fight scene between these. Well, it starts out with a guy's head in a lizard's mouth, and then a woman just kicks this one guy's ass, and the guy shoots magic at the lizard out of his finger, black smoke. The girl does one of these, puts a scissor grip on his fingers and breaks them, and then the lizard spits out the guy and says, "What did the man in my mouth say?" And the guy with spit all over his head says, "He said I'm not the one." So the lizard chops him up into multiple pieces. You see limbs fly and blood go everywhere. And a flying limb shoots magic out of a fingertip, makes a door under the other guy with the broken fingers, and as it drops down, and the door opens, boom, and the guy drops into another dimension. I'm like, so that was in the first 5 minutes. I'm like, I gotta watch everything. I didn't even know who these characters were. I didn't know who was good, who was bad, who was the protagonist, who was the antagonist, who was the media res tagonist. It was a tangle of tagonists. It was great. Another thing I like about Dorohedoro is the end credit music changes. Every few episodes they have new end credit music. And unlike most anime, where when they change the credit music or change the theme song, they make it worse, these don't get worse. They just get different. They're still awesome. Okay, that's the review of anime. And look, we got it done before we were even supposed to start. So let's put this clock... Oh! Ishualegwa. He's done run off. Well, okay, that's the end of that candle. I tried to go to Supermercado today to get a Botanica. There's a Botanica in Racine. I wanted to get some new candles, but they're never open because they're afraid of coronavirus. Even though they have a sign on the door that says in Spanish, "Please wear a mask." Doesn't matter if you wear a mask or not because nobody's there and the door's locked. Now, let's finally get started on this painting. So much talking. So much blithering. Okay, so he's got the eyeballs. His head looks alright. I'm going to add some more black to it just because it might look alright, but I feel like it could be all-righter. More alright, that is to say. Skunk man, you are a skunk man. Pretty cool guy. I don't know. What is this skunk man? I really want to know what his deal is. The only way I'll know is if I start writing dialogue. That's how I figure out how these characters work. I can't open. Best thing I learned in art school. A pair of pliers to open the caps of paint. That's. If I could say that school was worth it, I would say school was worth it because it taught me that I need pliers. A pair of pliers. I was handy with my paints. So now that you know that, Cave Dweller, you don't need to go to art school. All you need to know is that you just watch my show, The Skrauss Live, with hilarity and antics and opinions, and you will get the equivalent of an art school training. Not an atelier training. University. One thing I wanted to make sure I did when I was painting this is slash colors over the edges of things. And I wasn't diligent with that because it's a little bit frightening to me to go out of the lines. But I did it successfully here with these pants, and I don't want to destroy what I've created by making hard lines. I want the overlap to remain, which maybe I shouldn't because that's kind of the technique of blurriness as perfected by the Impressionists, Monet, for instance, which I don't particularly care for. I don't care for it because all the nut jobs love it. When I say nut jobs, I'm being nice. All the people who hate my guts because I'm an artist love the Impressionists. I'm talking about my mother. And the people who populated a certain church that I once attended treated me like trash, treated me like smash, and all... Okay, well, there's this hilarious story where we moved into a new building. This is the part I wanted to paint. We moved into a new building and we were going to paint the walls and do things, and we started up a design committee, and the whole idea was to be creative, and the leader of the design committee, everybody's trusted friend, Tom Horner, he suggested, he was playing around with little designs in the paint in the men's room. And I said, hey, what are you doing? He told me about the little designs. I'm like, well, why don't we paint little pictures instead, like things that are manly? And he goes, and I think you're the man to do it. And I'm like, all right. So I did it. I painted 3 on the tree, as in 3 gears, on the shifter. And then right next to it, I put 4 on the floor, the diagram. I put a giant cup of coffee, and I put a cigar on there, just a shotgun, manly things. And in one of the stalls, I was going to put a ship. And I couldn't figure out how to put a ship. And the ship was going to have a sound effect, the word toot. And it was a little risque, because these are very conservative people, to show that you actually make noises when on the pot. No, that's verboten. And no humor. No toilet humor. This was literally potty humor. But it was clean potty humor. But so all I painted was the word toot, and I didn't get as far as the ship. Oh my goodness. And because of that, my shrink says I'm rebellious. But I maintain, no, it's not rebellion. It's the trickster. I was trying to instigate change in the church. Get the stick out of your ass. And maybe it'll make a sound effect and we can all laugh. Anyway, it split the church. The whole thing exploded. The whole church exploded over the word toot. Men were red-faced. Women were crying. Children were confused. Dogs were barking. And those that hated my guts went their separate ways. Shortly thereafter, I went my separate ways. I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the church as she is known. And then I went from there to living inside one. I went from attending church to living inside a church because I couldn't handle the idea of church and I don't like Christians. Answer me that! Explain it to me. Somebody please tell me what's going on. I don't know. I can't say I don't like Christians. Well, really, I don't like anybody off the bat, like in general. I find everybody is either or afraid of themselves, they're afraid to talk, or they talk nonstop and I just want to run away because I want there to be a conversation and a partnership. You know, like Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant in His Girl Friday. That's my dream situation. I'm still looking for it. So we got the suit. I'm going to put the shoes in there. We'll give him black shoes because he's classy. You can tell he's classy because he's wearing an ascot. Whereas Numbnuts over here, the big old face guy, is wearing just a t-shirt. I should put a logo on the t-shirt. I'll put Doro Hidoro on the t-shirt. Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it. Next time you see this shirt, it'll have a big old lizard head on it. Maybe with another head inside it. I'm not going to do it now because I would have to look it up on my device. And my device right now is taking footage. It's taking stop motion footage. Black shoes, that's what I'm in the middle of. He's not actually wearing shoes, is he? He's got big old skunk feet with toes. Anthropomorphic feet. There's a great diagram in Chuck Amuck, which is Chuck Jones's autobiography. He has a great diagram in there about how to draw feet on anthropomorphic animals. And the idea is you have to know where the heel is. Well, here we are. Streaming, which is screwed up again. I'm having difficulty with the streaming. There's connection doesn't let the data through, so please bear with me. Please bear with me. Okay, it's done. Now then. Okay, we got the feet back in, bottom of the pants. Let's do that. I don't want it too sharp. What happens if I use raw sienna? Ooh, baby. It's like the desert sands of brown. I may have overdone it. I don't know. I never know if I've overdone it until it's too late. Makes sense, doesn't it? So when you're in fear of overdoing it, I say just do it anyway. Oh, that's interesting. Too much in the outline, though. It looks like an outline, and it's not intended to be an outline. It's intended just to be light. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Now remember, where there's light in the back, it's darker in front. And where it's darker in back, it's lighter in front. So I could make this part lighter and these darker. I'm going to give that a shot on faith. I'm going to do it on faith because I'm a little bit nervous. Okay, as you can see, this is like way too dark. There's no reason I can't have a lost edge, though. Good thinking, Skrauss. Wipe off, wipe back on. Well, the raw sienna was a little too light, so I'm going to mix it with, I don't even know why I'm using it, but I'm going to mix it with violet oxide? Okay, whatever, let's do it. Violet oxide it is. Why? Because it was just sitting there in my tray of paint, and I thought, let's try it. A real painter would know exactly what to expect. This is paint that I peeled off my palette right before I started, and the knife was just sitting on top of it. But I need the knife to mix these colors together. And it stuck. Dry paint sticks. So when you put your paintings face to face, when you're storing them, you should always have glycine between them because acrylic will adhere to itself and they will become one. They will bond. And then when you take them apart, they rip. The canvas doesn't rip, but the paint sometimes peels off. All right, this is way too red. I just mixed some burnt sienna and it's too red. What happens? It's pretty red, isn't it? I'm really struggling with this suit, Team Cave Dweller. This suit is giving me nightmares. Nightmare. Talking about nightmare. It's a Bon Femme song. How does it go? Nightmare. I don't know. From their album American Music. The Violent Femmes had a great breakout album. And then the second album, Sophomore Slump. Third album, not bad. It had a really rockin' remake of Children of the Revolution. But their fourth and fifth albums were so wonderful. The band had matured and they were making these great songs. And then everything fell apart. They never recaptured that. They made a terrible sixth album, and the seventh album, which is out now, it's like Hotel, or no, it's not Hotel. I don't know. It's just not that great, man. They've lost it. They've lost the coolness. Brian Ritchie is living in Australia. Gordon Gano is in New York. The Horns of Dilemma are stuck in Milwaukee. Well, I'm going to leave that for now. The peg-leg monkey needs to be more peg-legged. Okay, well, I'll just use this red mess that I have already. And I'll put in, well, first of all, his hand. And then the leg. Wow, wouldn't it be great if I was able to finish this painting today? I'm sick of looking at it. Peg leg. Oh, this is like a strange flesh tone that I've created here. Now I'm breaking out the light portrait pink because, you know, that's the color of people. And I'll mix that with this weird red that I've made. Oh, speaking of anime, I learned I was talking about the Japanese language last week and how cute it is, and there's a word that they repeat the same syllable like 3 times, and it's hilarious. That word is the translation of we, nosotros. They say wadi wadi wa, or wadi wadi wa. It means us. It means we. Or wadi wadi wa. I love it. It's so great. Someday I will learn Japanese and then I'll just say wadi wadi wa every chance I get, because it is so hilarious to say. I need more black. I should have used ivory black. Alright, let's do it. Let's use ivory black then. Cave dweller, we're running out of time. Our time together is short and truncated every week, every day, every time we get together. You know, the only people that like my videos are robots and spammers. Let's see if we can change that, Cave Dweller. I want you to like, comment, and share this video. Like this video and share it, and subscribe to me on YouTube. You'll probably see it on some social media platform. Don't like it there. That's a waste of my time. Like it. Oops. Like it in YouTube, because that's if you want to see this show improve and get better and go places, if you can get behind me, if you love what I'm doing and want to see it grow and expand, all you have to do free of charge is subscribe to my YouTube channel. Start there. like the video, comment on the video, that helps. But start by subscribing to my channel. And then disseminate it. Step 1, subscribe to the channel. Step 2, disseminate it by like, commenting, and sharing. Step 3, if you love me that much, you can become a supporter on Patreon. Patreon.com/the_Skrauss, and any pledge counts. $1 will get you an email from me saying I love you. Amounts higher than that get you other prizes. Let's see what we got. So this is starting to come together. Now, so this black, I got to put it on here because his, even though it's lighter, his it's in the shadow. So it shouldn't be that light. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's starting to look better. Made him look shorter. All right, okay, the peg leg monkey's standing out. I'll give him even more. Oh, I brought my homemade tube of naphthol red. I haven't used any of this yet, hardly. So let's give that a shot. And this one, I put too much paint in this tube. So I had a real hard time when I sealed it. I barely have enough tube space to crimp it. So I got to use it so I can crimp it down. Okay. Now, because monkeys are totally ripped, give them a little more here. Monkey fuzz. Give them a ripped arm, beefy arm. One of the most thrilling things that ever happened to me was some girls I was working with at an art supply store one day all got together and they drew their version of the peg leg monkey on the plan of the day. Oh, it's the greatest thing. I love it so much. Because it was an art store, so we were all artists, so nobody had a problem drawing, and it was so great. Everybody had these great takes. One of them is the famous Carrot Quarter, famous exhibitionist / hilarious artist on Instagram. Exhibitionists of Instagram. She's joined that club. It's getting her viewers. I hope it gets her paid artwork. I think it's gotten her some gallery shows, but. Okay, brother, we're out of time. I'm signing off. I'm saying goodbye. I'm saying, until we meet again, we will always be here. I will always be waiting.